All right, guys. Good morning and welcome to the Sports Buffet on the Liberty TV radio. My name is Daffy Matthew. So you love to call me the Liberty One of Sports. Okay, quick, get out of there. Okay, so how are you doing? How was your night? Forget about football first. Let's get to greet each other. How's your night? How's work? How's family? How's the hustle? I'm in my place of hustle. This is my place of hustle with my glass of tea. No, no English breakfast today. Somebody said he's going to send me a mug. Larry, one Larry sent me a message yesterday. Said that I'm going to send you a mug for your tea, branded. Let me hope that he will keep his promise. So, because I saw Arteta promise people say go win title. They were see where we did now. So we're not gonna be like Arsenal and Arteta promise. I get this type of promise a lot. A lot of people they just I don't know where randomly come out and promise. Hey, I remember when I first started 2017. God, I just do on my own. No, back then when we started, we're doing Precious Moments. Precious was doing interview, and I was doing myself, Swore, and SIM card were doing Sports as the Hot. It was a bit new at the time because the Nigerian media industry did not agree that you can talk sport, you can talk and eat at the same time. The fact it was against broadcast code. So when we did it, it was new. To the neutrals, it was new. To the dogmatic oligarch who felt like there's a particular way of doing media, it was a disruption that must be killed. And that's why I got sacked anyway. That's why myself and Swore got sacked from Brilla. SIM card had already left before because SIM card resignation is one of the funniest resignation I've ever seen. So SIM card was asked to do more than what he was being paid to do. And he wrote a letter, I not do again. And I asked him, SIM card, why did you write a resignation like that? He said, I'm pitching English and they do now. So I had to let them know. Just wrote, I not do again. And that's how I resigned. Okay. And we could because we saw it coming. I mean, you saw the ship was already sinking, things were not going the way you envisaged, and you've complained, you've spoken, you've talked, nobody's listening. And so when we did Sports as the Odds, because I'm saying this because a lot of you are like, oh, just share the story. When we did Sports as the Odds, it was not to spite anybody. A lot of people said it was, oh, we did it to spite. No, it was not to spite anybody. What three worry people? One of the things a lot of people don't know, Tracy is my cousin. Swore is my cousin, right? And SIM card is my fellow worry brother, like we're blood. So normally back home in Worry, when guys like sit down to the gist for sharp corner, they eat, would they eat, would they talk, and it's always nice. And we're like, oh, I said the hot more just the key matter. Like we are judging cases, like maybe Ogwan, we do Ogwan now. What makes case sweet when they are discussing community matter? There should be food on the table. Uh, uh, Somebody said I was confident Arsenal will go through. No, I wasn't. Too. You're confusing me for someone else. I wasn't confident. I was asking question that where is this confidence coming from? Where a whole Bayern Munich Arsenal fans are saying they will go through. Even yesterday, I was saying Paris Saint-Germain have to deal with Bayern, Man City, Real Madrid in the finals. For those who are saying Mbappe will win the Champions League for them, so I wasn't really confident. I'm not that crazy about a team that is just a starting 11. I've always said that when a team is only a starting 11, my confidence level about them goes down because in football, I've played this game, I've managed it. I keep saying it. I've played it and I've coached it. There comes a time where your team needs refreshment, like you need to refresh it, and unfortunately, that has been Arsenal's problem from Wenger's time up until now. That problem have not gone away. Arsenal, they are too scared to get a big squad. And if you look at key positions, there are no substitutes. They are just upcoming players that should be sold. People like Vieira, people like Smith Rowe, people like Eddie Nketiah, people like Cedric Suarez, people like what's that other one that scored one late goal and everybody said he's a world class player, Reece Nelson, all those players. That's five players in a squad that should be kicked out. And then look at certain position. Arsenal doesn't have a striker. Arsenal doesn't have a backup for Martin Odegaard. Arsenal doesn't have a backup for Bukayo Saka. And those are the key areas that determines Arsenal's progress. Trossard and Martinelli might be backing up each other, but sometimes the way they are used always become a problem to the team. But that's a different conversation. Let me go over, somebody asked me to explain that. So when we did it for the fact that I have only 4 hours to work every day, right? And the rest of the day, the rest of the 20 hours, I have 8 or 6 hours to sleep. That is even if I use up to that. And then I have the rest to myself. And I was like, oh, guys, let's just do something along the line, since YouTube is. And the reason why we said we should do it, so we talked about it at the time. I was already married with 2 kids. So I had a son. SIM card doesn't have a child or some married. So we're like, okay, let's just do this as time capsule and keep it there, so that the future generation that comes on will see, oh, these worry people, see what they do, right? That was the idea. But then first episode came out, and then it was bedlam. It was tsunami. It was the torrential rain in Dubai. It took 4 hours of meeting to sack me. It was crazy, I've never seen anybody get sacked like that in my entire life. 4 hours of meeting, of blackmailing, of lies, of emotional blackmail. I was just sitting there, just looking like, man. Successful people can be intimidated. I didn't know that people can be this successful and be intimidated. Okay. But hey, let's move away. For those of you who are asking me, that's the story. Every other thing you hear. And, once I got fired, Murphy, Sean, Kingsley, then Talkback Cole, the house of cards began to unravel. Everybody was moving out. Like, oh, this guy's gone. There are this clique that we cannot work with. This guy is the guy that's been like shielding us, holding us up. Everybody was moving one after the other. And that's how it happened. Some people even said, I've heard rumor. People said I sexually harassed his staff. That's why I was fired. Someone that said I stole money. That's why I was fired. I've heard, when you start hearing your story, I've sat down somewhere before me, but they're talking the story of why I was fired from Brilla. And I'm just sitting down there, listening to them. They don't know me. Why should I jump in on the conversation? I was just watching them. I was like, okay, that's true. That guy, and I chip in. I said, man, that Idafi guy must be a very crazy guy, And then I ate my food, drank my water. I entered motor and I drove off. It was okay. So let's come back to today's matter. Yeah, it is always Arsenal, Man City, Arsenal is the lesser of the 8 teams that were in the competition. Let's be very honest. Arsenal is the lesser. Arsenal have not been in this competition for 7 years. Arsenal have not made it to the quarterfinals for 14 years. Arsenal, in this team, they have 2 players that have won championship, that have won titles, that have won Champions League, Jorginho and Kai Havertz. They also have Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko. But other than that, the others are Lilliputans, they are upcomings, they are wannabes. They really don't belong in this space. Having come this far, any other team, we will be celebrating them. But the thing is, the Arsenal fans' knack for always want to brag, even with no substance in hand, is the reason why they get the kind of bashing and bantering that they keep getting all the time. Not necessarily because people hate them, but you see, the thing about Arsenal is that they get orgasm before they see the nakedness. So sometimes when the nakedness comes, there is no ability to do anything. They've not found the will and the experience. And I'm not saying that the squad needs to be that big, but they have to be balanced. When you look at the Leverkusen team, it's taking Xabi Alonso 2 seasons to dismantle Bayern Munich, to keep Borussia Dortmund and RB Leipzig in check and race on unbeaten to the title. They also focus on one major one, which is the Bundesliga. And then the Europa, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, no problem. Now they've won the league with 5 games to spare. They cannot say to themselves, you know what, let's face this Europa and see if we can win it. And then they do that one as well, because they won the first leg of their game against, who did they play? West Ham or so. So, they can go like that. But I think that somewhere in the Arsenal team they were playing for luck. And you know the thing about luck is you play for luck, you don't know when your luck will run out. Arsenal, have they had a great season this season? Fantastic season. By any shade of the world, by any position. Again, when the season started, if anybody had told you that Arsenal will get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and get knocked out by Bayern Munich by, the odd goal in five, you would say, I mean, that's a good one. Arsenal fans would take it and grab it. Right? Again, if you tell Arsenal fans at the beginning of the season, after the implosion of last season, and say, oh, they will be in the title running till 6 games to the end of the season. They would just be 2 points behind the Imperials, incredible Man City, with Liverpool, okay, behind them on goal difference. Again, any Arsenal fan or any football fan will say that's a respectable position. But when you now look at the way football is, it's the blindness that comes with banter, the blindness that comes with, I don't want to use the word envy, but misconstrued information. Arsenal Fan TV is there, hyping Arsenal higher than they belong, and almost everybody. So that's the reason why. Because again, when you look at Arsenal, they're not mathematically, they're not completely out of the Premier League title race. Let's be very, very honest. Let's not get carried away and then begin to say things that we'll come back and say, oh, no, we shouldn't have said that. Right? So that's one thing we must always, always, always remember. Now, what went wrong with the Champions League? I think, this is my opinion, they lost this Champions League match against Bayern in the first leg. In that first leg, the whole, Bayern, so there was too much on them and they made mistakes that the normal Arsenal defense doesn't make. The normal Arsenal defense is cool, calm, composed. They held on to Haaland in the Man City game. They've done so much. Once they played against Bayern and they couldn't hold their own, they became like they were ashamed of themselves. Let me use that word now. This is my own word. Nobody told me that, so I'm using my own. They were ashamed of themselves and they just didn't know what to do. Then they went into the Aston Villa game where they lost at home 2-0. So there was already doubt in themselves, like, oh, not again. And again, like I said before, no matter the statistics you throw in my face, there is one thing I always say and I will stand by. For me, pattern is greater than any statistics, any emotion, any stat pad that you throw in front of me. Arteta have created a pattern. Just the same way the Premier League have created a pattern. Let's see if Pep Guardiola can break that pattern this season. The Premier League have created a pattern that nobody wins more than 3 consecutive titles before they break to get another one. If Pep Guardiola does it, it will be surprising. I still think that the powers that be will come up with something up their sleeves and make it impossible for Pep to win 4 straight. But then if he wins 4 straight, that's a new standard. Now, pattern says Mikel Arteta doesn't coach properly in the final 10 games of the season. And, some people will argue that the final 10 games of the season, they were still doing well. But what you do not understand is that because they were in the Champions League, they were not additional games. So they played well against Man City. They did well against this Luton Town and then against who again? But if you calculate it from match number 30, you will say there were 8 games. Then now add the 2 Bayern games. So there are still 10 games at the end of the season. And in the last 3 seasons, every final 10 games, Arsenal season implode. It just explode into shred, right? And that's exactly what has happened last season. They were on top of the league for the longest time ever by any team on the top of the league. Final 10 games, they won 2, drew 3, lost 5. The upper season, they were up, to make the top 4. Final 10 games, they won 2, drew 4, lost 4. No, drew 3 again, lost 5. Again, Tottenham Hotspur took it. Last season, it happened. This season is happening again. You cannot say the first one was maybe a mistake. Second one was a coincidence. This is the 3rd time it has now been established. The course of the final 10 games. It is up to Arteta to ostracize it. I really would have loved Arteta to be the coach that brings title to Arsenal. But from the look of things, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. And I don't know if the management are going to be patient enough. But again, if they make that decision to fire Arteta, it might take us now so many years again for it to happen. But then Arteta needs to find a way to make sure next season is a must. Plug the holes that needs to be plugged. I feel for him when Julian Timbers got injured, but I still insist that there were 2 major signings that Arsenal should have signed that they didn't sign. One, James Maddison that they didn't sign was a very big mistake. 40 million for Mohamed Kudus that they didn't sign was also a very big mistake. And all of that is coming home to roost. The chicken is coming home to roost, using the words of my former chairman, Justice Adoke Amasimaka, to narrate that, to put my narrative across. That have now come on to haunt them. For Man City, the last 3 seasons, it's been Man City and Real Madrid. 2 seasons ago, Man City, Real Madrid, we know how it happened. Last season, Man City, Real Madrid, 1-1 at the Bernabeu and 4-0 at the Etihad Stadium. Last night, he almost wanted to repeat itself, 3-3 at the Bernabeu, and then it was 1-0. Rodrigo and Kevin De Bruyne scored a goal that was already getting him nominated for Ballon d'Or. But then the Man City fans and their stupidity and their inexperience and their over-entitled mentality kept the ball to themselves when they should have kept their team going, spurring their team, sharing their team to go on. By the time the ball got to Bernardo Silva, he had lost momentum and he just wafted the ball as a back pass to the goalkeeper of Madrid, who said, "Thank you very much. From this moment, you guys are losing this one." And so it was. In Spanish, they say, "Hasta la vista." Yeah, and Man City are out. We started this group stage, this quarterfinal stage, with 3 Spanish teams, 2 English teams, and we were almost convinced that the semifinals will see multiple English teams, at least 1 English team, and multiple Spanish teams. But it has not turned out to be like that. France is well represented in the semifinals. Germany is well represented in the semifinals with 2 teams. That's strange. 2 teams that are not also playing against each other. So they could be an all-German finals. Okay? There could be an all-German final. For those people who are writing Borussia Dortmund off against Paris Saint-Germain, be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. And it's going to be 2 giants playing against each other again. Oh, Nicolas Anelka, where are you when I needed you? Yes, Nicolas Anelka won the Champions League playing for Real Madrid, scoring that one-headed goal against Bayern. Okay, now this is the moment again. These are the days we will remember. Yes, these are the moments where you say it is a final before the final. The semi-final, Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. I could just sit here and say my smart money is on Real Madrid. And Real Madrid gets to that finals, damn. Paris Saint-Germain or Borussia Dortmund, anybody who comes in, Real Madrid is on number 15. Real Madrid is just the team that know how to get it done. And then they might end up winning the double, okay? Because the Copa del Rey has been won by an unknown team already. Ungone no man won the Copa del Rey in Spain, but the league title is as good as certain, okay? But the champagne, the wine is still on ice. For the Champions League, there are 3 hurdles to cross. 2-legged semifinals and 1 final in Wembley. Okay, the English teams were hoping. The English team were hoping that, these finals in Wembley were going to be there. But unfortunately, not to be. Yes, it is a dream that ended up as a nightmare, as a mirage. Yes, it was an illusion that appeared as a thought reality, but it's not a reality. Unfortunately, I'm going to leave you guys to tell me how you felt about the games. Where did it go wrong for Arsenal and where did it go wrong for Man City? We've reached a place now where nobody call Pep a fraud anymore, but the hope of a double treble is gone. It could still get worse. I still think that there are 4 points to be thrown away by Man City, or possibly a 5 point to be thrown away by Man City. Arsenal still have points to throw away from the way it is. They might play that lazy football again, play that lazy, stupid football again, and keep dropping points. Liverpool might just sneak in out of nowhere and go to winning. But then it all down to what happened with Atalanta tonight. Because they play Atalanta tonight and they get bashed again, they might come back to the league and get beaten again. After all, Crystal Palace beat them at Anfield, a place where nobody goes to get a result. Okay? the best you can get at Anfield is a draw. Isn't that what they say? But then they walked alone. They walked alone at home. They walked alone at home against Atalanta. They're going to go home away to play at the Bergamo Stadium to play against Atalanta. They might walk alone back. Okay? So there is a whole lot their player, the best player, doesn't show up in big games. Let's hope that he show up in this big game. I'm talking about Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian Messi. Like, you know what I always say? Don't give another person's name to another player, because sometimes they just might disappoint you when you expect them the most. There's a whole lot, to bank on for them. But for you guys out there who are members of this beautiful, esteemed, amazing committee, YouTube said that I have a committee that does not insult each other. So for that, they sent me a very beautiful letter and say, well done for keeping a clean community, which is a thing of pride for me. Thank you, guys. I think that spirit of excellence. I mean, I want to have 1 million subscribers and all that, but that knowledge of knowing that people don't come in my comment section to insult each other, it's something I take pride in. Like, just the fact that even YouTube is able to acknowledge it, it's something nice. I wish YouTube is like Google Meet, where you can share your screen. I'm looking at the mail here, and I'm like, okay, I should have shared it with these people. But anyhow, thank you very much, guys, for being so decent, so responsible, so nice that YouTube could acknowledge just that lead to progress on our side. And please, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do well to subscribe. It doesn't cost a thing to subscribe. I used to tell people that becoming a member, okay, I'm a member to many channels as well. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, and I just feel like it's my own contribution to support those channels that I love their content. Okay, I subscribe, I turn on notification, but at the same time, I pay for their membership. Some is 500, some is 1,000 naira, some is just like that. I do it because they say what you sow is what you will reap. Yes, that's why I do it. I do it because you support people, you get support. That's my belief anyway. I don't know about you guys, but that's just the belief that I have. Okay, so let me come to you guys. How did you see the game yesterday? Which game did you watch? I didn't bother watch the Arsenal game. I focused on the Man City game. I mean, if you were in the Elevated TV family group, I mean, Umaru will tell you. Umaru was telling us that they will shock us. I kept warning them that there is nothing in this game. Arsenal should have won it in the first leg. There is nothing in this game that can convince me that Arsenal will beat Bayern. And everybody, even precious Chelsea fan, diehard Chelsea fan, came and was telling me that this is a Bayern that is there to be taken. No, but for me, I was judging pattern. Like, this is the final 10 games. Course is worrying Arsenal. Arsenal, they can't even score goals again. A team that is scoring 6, scoring 5, scoring 4, all of a sudden can score again. So when I play football, there's something called the game mappings. Okay, game mappings I experienced that when I went to Sweden. At the start of the season, the whole team is lined up on the board, and then the fixtures is put up. And then the coach comes in and he said these things that I will never forget. He said, there are only 3 games in this season. I didn't get it. I've never heard that before, so don't blame me. I was the JJC. I was a novice. He said there are only 3 games in the season. The easy wins, the banana peels, and the impossible ones. I didn't get it. He said if we were trying to gain promotion that season, that if we want to gain promotion, the easy wins must be won. It's a must. We can't compromise it. That's the one where we establish our marker. The banana peels will tread with care, but we'll try not to lose them. And then the impossible one is where we get our promotion. These are the teams that are going to fight promotion with us. These are the teams that are going to try to stop us. These are the teams that would also beat those teams that are easy wins for us, because they are easy wins for us. They're also easy wins for them. And so the goal difference with those teams will come helpful, useful at the end of the season. And then the banana peels are those ones that on their day they will beat you, on your day you will beat them. But make sure that the day you play them, it is your day and you turn up very well. And as I follow football again, and when you hear information, you now go out and start researching it. I look at Sir Alex Ferguson. I agree that most of his title wins were aided by referee, but that is his formula, 3 games formula, the trinity of football. The easy wins, Alex Ferguson will win it. The banana peels, those teams that are just Newcastle, Tottenham Hotspur, Blackburn at the time, those teams that are mid-range table, Everton, make sure you win them, okay? And then the top teams, most times Alex Ferguson doesn't even win those teams. Alex Ferguson doesn't win them. What he does is he makes sure he takes point of them, maybe via a draw. Make sure that their overall head-to-head doesn't work against him. and he's a champion. So those are some of the things that I don't think Arteta make. If you look at it, the team like Arsenal this season in the league, let's leave the Champions League. That's not their territory at any given time. Let's not even pretend about it. The Champions League is not their territory. When you look at Arsenal in the league this season, and this season ends and Arsenal doesn't win the title, there's still a title that they can win, but if they don't win the title, I'm not going to say they lost the title because of Aston Villa. No. If they don't win the title this season, it is that West Ham game, that Fulham game, and then the first leg against Aston Villa. Those 9 points are the games that destroyed Arsenal's season. Because if you put those 9 points on the plate, and those times they could have won those games, but they've approached the game so lackluster, so lackadaisical, like it didn't matter. If you put those 9 points on the plate now, you would see the distance between Arsenal and the chasing pack. Unfortunately, those 9 points are not available. Go back to the Wenger days, it was always like that. The season Eduardo da Silva got injured, it was 4 points that separated Arsenal second and Manchester United winners. And those 4 games were Middlesbrough draw, Birmingham draw, what's it called? Which other game again? It's something, it's not right here. Okay, those games were the games that ended up destroying or wrecking Arsenal's season. So when you look at some of these teams, I think that the coaches don't do that game mappings where they say, these are the games we must win. These are the games that we got to be very careful, but we cannot afford to lose. And then these are the games that we might lose them, but let's not lose it in such a way that it does damage to our team. That's some of the lessons that Mikel Arteta will have to learn. Well, we have lost light again, and I was trying to explain that to Aroturi this morning. So I have to go to your messages and see how far we go. Yeah, Tosile Made say, really feel for Arsenal fans, all the best next season. Kenny PC, top of the morning to you, Elegbete. Lord Mayor say, greetings, boss. Big up my boss, Arsenal. Head up, let's push to the last day. I mean, preseason does start for Arsenal, forget about it. Lami say, you were confident Arsenal will go through. No, I wasn't. I don't know where you got that from, but I wasn't. Lord Mayor say, heritage is real. Man City play heaven and earth, but Madrid is Madrid. I agree with you 100% on the heritage side. Adewale Saka say, good morning, boss. I felt Arsenal will go through, but they bottled it. Lord Mayor say, next year will be Arteta final year on his contract. It looks like he is not ready to sign yet. Olatunji Emmanuel say, Ancelotti looking cold and moved up despite the flow of game is astonishing. Is that something that can be learned, or it's more of a personality thing? I think it's a personality thing. It's not something you learn. It's a personality. You have it or you don't have it. Lord Mayor says, Adeola Saka, what do you mean by Arsenal bottled it? How? Okay. Mario Nathaniel says, Olatunji, they don't teach that anywhere. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Adeola Saka say, I actually stopped following Brilla after you left, as I was always looking forward to your analysis. What's that? Whoa. Well, I don't know. I mean, okay, I needed this. So hold on, guys. Okay. Adeola Saka say, I actually stopped following. Okay, I think I've read that one. The Olarawaju say, I have said it that Arteta is just a work in progress. He might need to leave for someone to complete the story. The Olarawaju went on to say, bye-bye English teams in this year's UCL Champions League is coming home to Wembley without an English. Oh, that's unfair. Henry Morris say, mental blocked Arsenal. Okay, Babawa. This guy was so sure Arsenal was going to win. It'll shock you. It'll shock you. For where shock you? Babawale Olayemi say, Big Pedro. We need Ashwebi for clean community. Demola Abiodun Ibrahim say, I think tactically Arsenal got it right, but they needed that extra player who can turn game on his head and do something extraordinary like the Henry goal at the Bernabeu or Messi masterclass. Arsenal doesn't have that. That actually, I agree with you, but you see, when you don't have it, you don't have it. There's nothing anybody can do. I'm sorry. It's just it's just one of those days when this things happen. Christian Amazing say, good morning, boss. Good morning to you. Arsenal played well last night, but they lost by the finest of margin. They actually lost the game at the Emirates. For City, I wasn't surprised. Los Blancos are old wine in UCL. I agree with you on that one as well. The likewise, the Man City were just unlucky yesterday, but then a team had to win, and with this, Madrid are on the cups of 15th UCL victory. Demola Abiodun Ibrahim said, Arsenal season is over anyway, but make them end well by finishing the season well. Marion Natana said Liverpool will walk out of Europe alone because Atlanta will go through to the semis. Liverpool are comeback kings, so don't write them off. And Liverpool will focus all attention on the league. Demola Abiodun Ibrahim said City were just unlucky yesterday, but it was a good defensive game from Madrid. Henry Morris said, boss, there was a shock whichever way you look at it. Inform Arsenal got knocked out by shambolic Bayern in the UCL. How shocking. Okay, Maria Natalia, I say, and with the powers that be in the EPL, they will give clubs a parting gift. Possible. Very, very possible. Possible. Yemi Dynamite, yes, says you talk and say you don't know which Arsenal team will show up. Good morning, Uncle E. He shocked me, say Pepe, he not go through what went wrong, sir. Well, the giant, people with history went wrong. Olatunji Emmanuel, he said, do you think City did anything wrong in their loss against Madrid? I think it's the first leg, like Arsenal, it's the first leg where they just couldn't defend properly, and that's where they lost it. But hey, football is football. These things happen. There's nothing anybody can do. It happens in football. Christian Anomeze, boss, the Wenger era you just mentioned where Arsenal drew 4 games and lost the title, but 4 points to United was so sad. By 4 points to United was so sad. As sad as leading Magpies 3-0 and lost the game 4-3. Yes, if you remember all that, you know what I am talking about. Yeah, Midana might say, with both crashing out of the UCL and going by your explanation yesterday, who will make it to the Club World Cup? I don't mind if you explain it again. It was confusing. Naturally, I think it's going to, hold on. I think it's going to be Man City because Man City are the defending champion from last season, so they're already qualified. Arsenal is not there. The only way Arsenal would have made it is if they win the Champions League. Man City is already qualified, so there is no Man City out. Man City are still in. It's only Arsenal that cannot go. The last one you say, I was watching the Arsenal game last night while watching yesterday's sports buffet. It was funny listening to people's comments saying that they'll win and the getting beat in real life on the screen. Taiwo Okunade says Arsenal is a good team, well coached as well, but the only deficit is the team is a top goal poacher. If only they will sign with the striker like Osimhen. I don't think Osimhen is needed at Arsenal. That's me. Babawale Olayemi Pedro says, I keep asking myself, was there anything more City could have done? I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe they could have defended well in the first leg. Abayomi Adewale say, hello, Elegbete. Why be say anytime Guardiola lose a game, journalists, sports pundit go say he's a fraud? I don't understand why they say that, but I think that it's a journalist that does not know their job. That's my opinion. I might be too harsh, but that's just my opinion. I think that there are journalists, that pundits and journalists who don't know their job. Okay, you can't call Pep Guardiola a fraud. I think that first off, it's disrespectful, not to Pep Guardiola, but to the person who calls Pep Guardiola a fraud. Like the person doesn't know anything about football. And it is sad, but we live in an era where just about anybody can be on the microphone, can be on social media and talk. And so this is the clickbait era. In the clickbait era, what you do is it's a keystroke thing where what are the most searched words that are associated with a club like Arsenal now? They are butlers. You look at Arsenal this season, can you really say they are butlers? No. I would say that Arsenal made progress this season as against last season. And they made progress last season as against the previous season. So Arsenal is gradually making progress. But some people in some corner just wake up and believe that, oh, Arsenal are supposed to win the Premier League and win the Champions League. So if they don't win it, it's failure. It's like that thing that peer pressure does to people, where some people in their own backyard carve a life for you. It's happened to me a lot, but I'm not the kind of guy who you can't put me under pressure. No, I'm like Ghana people, no pressure, no pressure. You can't put me under pressure because you don't know where I'm coming from. And because you don't know where I'm coming from, I'm not going to let you social media. Like, let me give you a very vintage example. Now, look at this phone. There's nothing wrong with this phone. Is it 2 years or 3 years ago? 2 years after COVID, 2022, right? It was 2022 now. I bought this phone when I went to Dubai to go and do that Coach Ayiri video. And I've been to places where people say, bros, now Samsung, you know they use iPhone. The question is, how we don't play rich where that conversation they come up? Say, I need to use iPhone. Are you the one that would decide what type of phone that I use? That's one. Now, when I went to Germany last October, I was rushing from Portimao to Lisbon. I want to fly from Lisbon to Paris. And we were a bit late. Myself and Omar and Clinton were a bit late. And the reason why we're late was because we were waiting for Umar Sadiq. Yeah. So we were a bit late, and that affected us a little bit. Now, long and short of the whole conversation is that as I was coming out from the car, my phone had fell, and the screen, just the mirror, the camera place, the camera spot was what hit the floor, and it got smashed. Not a big deal. Just that I cannot do Instagram live again, right? It's not supposed to be a big deal. It's not supposed to be something to worry about. But I've seen people carrying for their head. Now, that's unnecessary pressure you are putting yourself. Because me, not going to affect me. Now, that's what happens with teams like Arsenal. That's what happened with teams like Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola can, coach like Pep Guardiola, sorry, he can win everything. And then there are just those people who are waiting one defeat. Oh, I said it. It's not good enough. No. You can't say that. That's why I was telling a friend yesterday, a friend in the UK, myself, David Dean, and another friend in the UK were just, having a three-way conversation. And I said that the worst thing that Arsenal will do right now is to sack Arteta, because Arteta is the best thing that's happened to them. And before anybody come out and say, because like there's this conversation that if Unai Emery comes back to Arsenal right now, it would win the title. And I said no, it will not win the title, because it's okay to coach a no-pressure job in Aston Villa and achieve that height. But you see, the Arsenal job is a high-pressure job. Unai Emery also have not won a league title before. Arsenal's expectation is not to qualify for Champions League anymore. It's not to qualify for Europa Cup. It's to win a league title or to win any major title, not even FA Cup. So he will not do it. And we're just, having a back and forth on that conversation. But hey, it is what it is. People say things the way they want to say things and see things the way they want to see things. But either ways, I think that conversation that people always say Pep Guardiola is a fraud, it's childish. I don't know, it's childish, but hey, people will always say what they want to say and see life from where they see life, but not them sabi. That's the way I would call it. Okay, I say, I'm afraid that Arsenal season is over. I agree with you on that one, but they can still win the league title if they get their act together and somehow magically the other teams crumble. Lord Mayor say, boss, if it's you Arsenal, will you sign Raya? Because I don't think he's good enough. He's better than Ramsey any day, anytime. Arsenal have not lost a game because of Raya's mistake. Arsenal have lost a game because the team sometimes get lost. The goal that Arsenal considered yesterday was as a result of not proper marking in the first place, and then people going to sleep. Lazy legs, that's what we call it in football. Lazy legs that led to that cross by Sane, and then the ball, Raya pushed the ball. He came this way. Nobody was marking. The cross came in. There was nobody marking Kimmich. Kimmich ran out the way from where he was and put his head to that ball. So you're not going to blame Raya. It's just that the English press who are trying to set the Ramsey's conversation are making you think that Raya is bad. Raya is an improvement on Ramsey. Raya is part of the reason why Arsenal have come this far. So I'm not sure I have any problem with Raya. I think that Arsenal's problem is not having a striker and also not having a backup for Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka. Even when they are limping, they have to stay on the field. That's the problem. Canepe say, is Andre Lunin the next Ike Casillas in Madrid? It does look like it. He's doing very well. Mario Nathaniel say, Lunin is not Casillas. There is no other and will never be another. And then Mario went to say, but that being said, Madrid have had good goalkeepers after Casillas, and they have Thibaut Courtois in their books as well. Well, it's on this note that I'm going to pack my bags and baggages and leave. It's not up to an hour, but I've got to go sort out this whole fuel issue that we're dealing with right now. Thank you very much for being on the show. Once again, thank you for being seen as a clean community. I take pride in that. God bless you. My name is Idafi Mathias. You love to call me the Level Sports. It's been a good show this morning. Let's do this again tomorrow morning. Have yourself a wonderful day and be the very best of who God created you to be. Like I always say, don't be the problem, but be the solution. If you can't be the solution, because there are times where you just can't be the solution, don't stand in the way of those who are providing the solution. Bye-bye and have a wonderful, wonderful day.